There we go.
There we go.
All right. Cool. We got audio. Excellent. Yeah, fix that. How's it going? That was one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to test the microphone, the wireless microphone. So that's what we're using. Pretty cool. I didn't have it turned on, so I apologize for that. So, don't forget on the main channel, I'm going to have Daniel Summers, insurance broker. He's going to be on. And so if you guys got any questions, like if you have your own authority and you need some advice, or you want to get your own authority and you have some advice, or you might be aware of a situation that makes you question things. So have those questions ready. The family's out right now, and they're it's my mother-in-law's birthday. I decided to stay home so I can work on these questions and get the interview ready for tonight. It's going to be 6 o'clock my time, Central. So that's why I'm live on the small channel. So, but anyways, thank you for coming in, right? So it's been a tough week for me, and it's all but one thing is kind of self-inflicted. So, first, I can't say enough about Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. That has been pretty powerful. And then I'm also reading a book about masculinity in Ryan Michler. He's the Order of Man Chaos, or Order of Man podcast. I almost said Chaos. There's a band called Order of Chaos. That's kind of where I got confused. But it's really got me thinking about a situation that has been troubling me, and I want to kind of go over that. So, you guys seem to be talking about diet stuff, so we'll go there first. So, if you guys don't know, I've become more of a spiritual person, so I've decided for Lent to get rid of coffee and alcohol for 40 days. Now, the rules, if we're going to play rules, is on Sundays you're good to go. You can do whatever, but I have not. I'm kind of saving that up because Matt's, there will be some food. That's the other thing. We're not going out to eat for the next 30 days on that. I have a habit when I'm home. I have this bad habit of Friday night, let's just go get Chinese, and I'll have either White Russians or beer or whatever with that. And because of those flaws, I've gained about 40 pounds at the highest back from my lowest weight that I had lost. So we're kicking it in high gear. So for the next 40 days, I'm going to be doing the 18-6 fasting. That's where I take only a 4-hour window and eat. And nothing processed at all. Like sugars are not a problem. I've had a couple of cheats, a couple of samples, but for the most part, sugar cravings, they're still there, but anyways, it's not a battle for me. If I do have a taste, it's more of a choice than I can't go without it kind of a deal. But the alcohol is ruining the gut health. So we gotta, not that I was drinking heavily, mind you, but any alcohol can kind of disrupt a lot of that. That's why you have the term beer belly, right? So I'm being honest with you guys here. You know, it's you know, I went keto, lost 120 pounds, and pretty much maintained it until I got home. And the big challenge with that, and where I started to see my weight loss plateau, was the cheating keto things. Like, you know, you can buy things marked keto, keto bread, keto cookies, keto this, keto that. And I'm here to tell you that stuff, it might help you wean, depending on your personality, it might help you wean yourself off of carbs, but you almost have to quit cold turkey. My personality needs to just be done with it, right? The closest thing if you can have when it comes to sweet cravings is blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, stuff like that. You got to even be careful on the fruits if you're watching your carbs. So when I disregarded those two rules, that's when my weight loss started to plateau. And plus I was eating 3 meals a day instead of just 2 or 1. So we've started our fasting regimen as well. I've done 2 days a week of 24-hour fasting. And that has been the game changer this time around. I've already lost like 10 pounds, and I'm hoping to be 20 less by the time we get to Matt's. So that's the thing on the health stuff. So let me get to the comments, then we'll go to the next thing. Jason, Marty, what's up? Pull of Woods. Greg Zimmer, good afternoon from St. Louis. Pull of Woods, carnivore diet is kicking my boots on cravings. It's tough, man. I mean, there are reports of heroin addicts that will tell you that it's harder to give up sugar. So that's a big part of it. You know, Pigtail, what's up? I've been cutting stuff out of my diet slowly. Already lost 3 pounds. There you go. No carbs here. I've been doing the beef, bacon, eggs, and butter thing. I did have some heavy cream with coffee, and oh boy, stomach ache. The thing about doing the BB and E is it's going to create some change in your body. It's going to, well, bathrooms are not going to be pleasant for a minute. Don't trust a fart. But after a while, once you get rid of the initial physical addiction, I think that you'll be all right. You're going to get all of your nutrients and all that. If you need to, put in a couple of vegetables. Like, you know, there's a term called ketovore, and that's kind of where I've landed. It's hard to be carnivore without eating processed meats all the time. And that's kind of what this 40 days, it's pretty much all natural. No hot dogs, no processed meat if I can help it. Very little ingredients, very little, and it's got to be almost straight from the source. Like, you might have a chemical added to boiled eggs that you buy in the package. I'm not too worried about that, but like the maltodextrins, the dextrins, there's so many different names for sugar. But the biggest one to avoid is MSG. MSG, there's like 15 different terms, and maybe I need to do a video about that, about the different terminology for MSG, because that's what creates your cravings. That's what makes food addictive. And it can also have a lot of physical side effects. So, but yes, your body is just adjusting. Jason's been through this. Pale Rider TV, what, no coffee? Yep. Just for a few days. Yes, video about MSG. That's a good idea. So, Shannon, I see in here, Mr. Charles, thank you for coming in despite the no notification. I got a notification for myself, so. Sundays are just kind of a tough day. This interview worked best for me, this interview time that I'm doing later on the bigger channel. So hopefully Daniel shows up. If not, we'll just talk about whatever. We'll do the open forum. I did buy a new acoustic guitar. So there's some work that's going to be done with that. But the fasting thing is when you look at fasting from a spiritual sense, if you're looking for clarity, okay, let's take religion out of this, okay? If you're looking for clarity, fasting is a great way to get the clarity that you're looking for. Because you can have the worst diet in the world, but if you fast, it's going to bring some clarity. It's going to bring some balance in. Maybe not completely, but enough, right? And you have to be careful when you refeed. That's where the good carbs, bad carbs thing kind of happen. But the amount of by eliminating something completely, like in other words, if you're an alcoholic, you don't want to go into a bar, right? You better have some clarity and some strength if you have to go in a bar for something. You know, like for example, I'm a musician. If one of my alcoholic friends wants to go do a gig, you know, he's got to really fight the urge to want to go over there and buy a beer. I had a buddy of mine that wouldn't bring any money with him other than the amount that he needed for merch and to get in the door, simply so he wouldn't be tempted to buy beer. And so clarity is if you find yourself upset, angry, you know, your patience is wearing thin, you're having trouble concentrating, fasting is a huge game changer in that. And I know this. I've been on both sides. And I've been needing some clarity. So recently I lost a good friend because of some actions that I had made, and I've really had to kind of self-analyze, you know, how much was me and how much was the other person. And so what I'm studying now is when you have some kind of hardship, when you have some kind of struggle, and you're able to soldier through it, any kind of infliction of pain, whether it be physical, mental, spiritual, you can take that moment and 5 years from now, you're going to look at it and say, this is the best moment of my life. Let's say, or the best thing that could have happened, I guess is a better term. It may feel like crap at the time. And I'll give you a perfect example. So I'm reading Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights. And spoiler alert, he does talk about when he was a foreign exchange student in Australia. And he went through 100 some odd days of hell with this one family. And when he got back into America and got back into his groove, his whole mentality was changed. His whole outlook had changed. And it started to plant the seeds of what he is today. And he says in the book that at that time he was feeling hell. He felt it was like hell, right? And looking back, he said it was the best thing that could have ever happened. And how many moments in your own life have you looked back and said that painful experience was a good thing? And when it comes to losing friends over words, I look back and so I made a mistake. And I take responsibility for my mistake. But here's the change here. I am not responsible for reactions. Like if if all of you watching here, all 12 of you watching, don't react well to me talking about cutting out sugar or weight loss or keto or MSG, I'm not responsible for that. I'm responsible for what I say, but I'm not responsible for how you react. And so when I look at the situation that I've been in, there is regret, there is forgiveness, and there is, like, I'm looking at it as like, this has been an opportunity for me to grow, to be a better friend for the current friends that I have. And it gives me an opportunity to look at myself and look at my own flaws to see what can I do better with the friends that I have now. What kind of thinking can I change to become a better person? And that has been, I've been stewing over this. I've been upset over this. I've been angry over this. But after I came to that conclusion this morning, after reading 2 different books that talk about this, I'm like, you know what? I take responsibility, but I'm responsible for my actions from at now. I'm not blaming anybody. I blame myself a little bit, but blaming only works to identify. It doesn't like the blame game or blame shifting, and which is what our world is. You know, everybody's entitled. You know, if someone takes words that I say personally, or if someone says I was joking, but your joking isn't good, then it's kind of a one-sided conversation. So it's been a learning experience. And the unfortunate part is I've lost a friend over words and actions, and now I know how to deal with it. Now I know that this painful experience will allow me to grow, understand, and forgive, because, you know, everybody's in pain. Everybody's under stress right now. Everybody's got some major stuff going on in their lives. And that doesn't justify anything, but having an understanding of why someone might have a reaction is important, so you can control your own actions, the things that you are responsible for. And so it's been, this week has been tough, but it's been a week of growth, of mental and spiritual growth, and that's something that I encourage everyone to go through. Look back at all your painful memories. Look back at all the things that cause you strife. Like the first time the significant other broke up with you. The first time you lost a really good friendship. I had to endure a lot of moving. And I used to use that as a blame game while I wasn't really socially aware. Now I don't. Now I just know that. Now I know that it's just me. It's just how I am, and there are things that I'm doing to fix that. So, if you had a horrible relationship in your past or a horrible marriage, you wouldn't want to go through that again. But at the same time, it's formed of who you are now. I've had some really bad relationships in my past. One that was downright abusive to me, physically and mentally. And while I wouldn't want to go through that again, it's made me a better man in the long run. because now I know where some boundaries are. Now I know where I'm at. Now I know, and so, and what happened was, well, my wife and I have been together 23 years. And that's, I don't think that would have happened had I not gone through the negative experience I had before her. So just, and I cringe at that a little bit. It's like, and then I had to forgive myself for making those mistakes. That's the other part. I've had to forgive myself for making the mistake of saying the things that I've said and doing the things that I've done. And that is a path to healing. And I'm putting all the blame on me. Completely. Because there are things that I should have seen. There are things that I should have known. There are things that I was ignoring. And there are things that I was not ignoring. Give more than you take. That's a big part of it. But here, come on with it. I'm gonna challenge you though. Not you, but just challenge anybody that says that. What is your intention by giving? Okay, so there's this what they call the white knight syndrome, right? A white knight comes in and saves the day, and he makes a valiant effort to make sure everybody knows that he is the savior. He is I'm the hero. I'm the superhero, right? And well, why is he a white knight? Because his linen doesn't get dirty. The knight in shining armor, because he's never been in a battle. He just kind of comes in and saves the day, but brags about it. And you have a lot of people that will be helpful, but at the same time, it's kind of like the rich guy handing the poor guy a sandwich going, look what I'm doing, And so there are a lot of people that do a lot of giving, but they're not giving because they're good people. They're giving because they want their egos fed. They want recognition. They want honor. They want pride. And if that's the intention, then it's a negative path. Like the person that has bought me the microphone and the other microphone, he doesn't want recognition. He doesn't want me to plaster his name all over the place. But I've helped him, and I hope that our friendship is mutual. I hope that our friendship is like he gets as much as he gives. And not for fame, not for notoriety, not for, and I think that, when I have someone call me and say, hey, Steve, I'm thinking about becoming an owner operator. I want to do this and this and this. And no matter what I say, they still make the same mistakes. At some point, I got to let them make those mistakes, because that painful experience of not getting the right truck, not getting the right things lined up, not doing your taxes right. Eventually, I could say that all day long, but if you don't, if you just won't listen, if you just won't do it, then there's got to be a point where you got to go like, okay, best of luck to you. I'll be here when you fall down. And not get on social media and say, well, I told so-and-so to do that, and they didn't listen. So riddance to him if he's suffering. Then your intention wasn't good if you're saying that. And that's a big part of being an entrepreneur, being a good guitar player, being a great baseball player is or anything that you're trying to strive for. You got to go through years, hours of suffering, of struggling to learn your lessons. And I try to help people when I can. I try to give them some of my knowledge, but it's not the knowledge. And as I'm figuring things out, how to handle my mentality, my emotional reactions, how to remain calm as I'm figuring those out, I try to share that. Because if I mean, think about it, if we were all calm and could just do what we need to do without the desire for recognition and entitlement, and power, you wouldn't have war, you wouldn't have famine, you wouldn't have all the things that make life sometimes a miserable living hell. If a car cuts you off, do you sit there and stew on it? Do you get angry? Do you go chase them down? That's where road rage. And then entitlement. Well, I deserve, I deserve to get $4 a mile because I make a hefty truck payment and I've got expensive things, in my life. And so, I'm doing all the risk. I'm doing all of this. Anybody who wants broker transparency, that's a form of entitlement. Just like I want $15 an hour to flip burgers. That's a form of entitlement. Giving publicly is one thing, but the people close to you, friends and family, are the ones who really know your quality. And that is true. There was a few of these fundraisers that it was easier to donate on Cash App than to put it on the Google screen, so everybody knew that something was donated. Because everybody's like, oh, how come so-and-so didn't donate to this cause? How come so-and-so? Where's so-and-so about this? Blah, blah, blah. And then come to find, oh, well, he donated $100 with the Cash App instead of the YouTube. So Google wouldn't get some of that money. And because they didn't want any notoriety. They just wanted to help. So what are your intentions when you think that you're helping someone? What are your intentions when someone gets on social media and tells you how to do something? I mean, YouTube is almost like the paradigm shift in YouTube. It's all how to. It's all telling you that you're doing something wrong. It's all life hacks. It's all about, look at me, be awesome, because you suck, and here's why you suck. So I'm going to tell you, but you can be just like me and make sure I get credit when you rise above it all. And that's what a lot of YouTube is. The power of true freedom is learning how to forgive, of what real forgiveness is. So damn powerful. Yes, Shannon. So I can't have coffee with my friend at Matt's. Pale Rider, yes, you'll be able to coffee with your friend at Matt's. Trust me on this. Because technically on Lent, you can cheat on once a week. I'm saving it all for the end. So I guess 30 days would be more accurate. So yes, we will have coffee, my friend Pale Rider. Yeah, my end, this channel had just personalized notifications on. Oh, we can talk about notifications. Got to go at home. Jason, thank you for coming in. The power of true freedom is learning. Okay, I already read that. Dear OG, good live feed. Thank you. Giving. Okay, I already read that. My personal circle is small, but they will always love me. Afternoon, Jason. Yes, can Pale Rider TV drink $60 worth of coffee at Matt's? And so it's just, these are the things that I've been thinking about and reflecting, because if you don't figure these things out, life is so much harder. Like I said, my neighbor literally killed himself with alcohol, and he had people trying to intervene. He had people telling him he needed help. He had people that tried to do an intervention and take him to the hospital, and he checked himself out, and he said, no, I'm done. I'm done with life. And that's a sad place to be, man. I mean, you know. So, but anyways, the other thing I've been trying to avoid is natural flavors. And so I've been drinking the sparkling water it's literally carbonated water. That's it. I mean, that's like completely it. Like ingredients, filtered carbonated water. And this is the Aldi's brand because I'm not rich. So, Sterling, good afternoon. Sorry I missed your live feed last night, and I think you went live earlier today too. So, but Sterling and I were talking yesterday about what I'm going through, what he's going through, and he and I have a lot of similar experiences. And we were both talking about the Mark Manson book and how just simple yet powerful it is. You got a few questions right last night, but 100 wrong, right? So, like I said, I take 100% blame on what I've been through. I used to be a victim blamer. I used to have the victim mentality. I wrote a song about it. It's called Victimized. It's an apnea song. And that was me fighting through the paradigm shift of going from victim mentality to, no, this is really my fault. Taking responsibility for my actions. So, and there's not enough of that. If you're at the fast food counter buying some Carbolicious and someone forgets your sauces, right? Oh, I asked for extra ketchup. That person made an honest mistake, and that's what they're responsible for, but they're not responsible for how you react for not getting your food right. And it's entitlement that makes that person lose their mind, and there's videos of this, folks, of people losing their mind because they forgot something simple on their sandwich and tear up the plate. That is entitlement. That is a 3-year-old having a tantrum. When a 3-year-old toddler has a tantrum in the middle of the grocery store, you know what I used to do? Just let them lay there on the floor. Let them get it out of their system. And eventually they figure out that this kind of sucks. And then you pick them up and then you go about your day. Well, people didn't do that with their kids. And guess what? Now they're 20, 30, 40, 50-year-olds that have tantrums, that are getting violent. They're going through Starbucks and ravaging the place. They're breaking things. They're just grabbing stuff because they feel they're entitled. They're shoplifting out in the open because, hey, you know what? You got more than I do, so I deserve this. That's entitlement that creates that. And there's nothing on this world that you're entitled to. Not even oxygen. God gives you oxygen, food, and water. The rest is for you to figure it out. And, with some guidance. And lack of sympathy, lack of empathy, lack of feelings. And, yes, we all get stressed, we all get angry, we all say things that we don't really mean. But where do you go from there? How do you handle that? Do you learn from that experience, or do you just let it snowball and then spiral? So those are my deep thoughts. I'm using the microphone. I know you can't tell because my beard's right there. So I wanted to test this for a live feed. The next test will be using my phone on StreamYard to see what that looks like, because I tried doing a StreamYard live feed with the guitar and it was drowning it out. So I'm wondering if there's some kind of filtration that's on the StreamYard website that this might affect. So, yep. Audio is beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Sterling. But just in this past week, I've fasted twice. And then it's been great. Tomorrow will be another fasting day for me. People are getting numb. I think it's sensory overload, Shannon. You know, think about this. You wake up, you check your phone, 15 notifications, 15 different emails, and you go to check your email, but then, you know, this YouTube video popped up that's very interesting. So you go to watch that, and that's going to tell you about World War III and Russia and all this crap. And then you have the religious people telling you that we're in the end times, and then you have the non-religious people saying that the religious people are screwed up, and then you have all this imagery and of people losing their minds, and crime rates are going up, and cities aren't safe anymore, and traffic isn't safe anymore, and like you can't even drive in a snowstorm without 20 vehicles piling up at any given moment. You know, and meanwhile, you forgot the original reason why you picked up the phone to check your email. And so right off the bat, you have the sensory overload. Same thing going to bed at night. You're not eating right. You're not sleeping right. So when you go to bed, your cortisol levels are all jacked up. And next thing you know, you can't go to sleep. So now you're in this cycle of 4-hour sleeps that gets you nowhere. And so now you're more susceptible to disease. Now you're more susceptible to stress. Now you become the Karen in the convenience store or the sandwich shop where they forgot your ketchup, and you're losing your mind and you don't even know why. Because your cortisol's jacked up, you're eating the wrong things, because the things that are meant to be addictive and destroy you slowly so they can make money off of you through the pharmaceuticals. I mean, I was watching the Daytona 500, was it last week or the week before? And you know who the sponsor was? One of the main sponsors was the diabetic, you know, thing that you put on your body and monitor your blood sugar. You have pharmaceutical companies that sponsor everything. Pfizer sponsored the Grammys. You know, that they want you to live off these drugs. They want you to be sick mentally and physically, and they want you to be sick spiritually. So you go and find some Zen in some field with some meditator that charges you $100 an hour just to sit out in the field and try to stay quiet. You know, it's kind of a bummer. It really is. The mic sounds great. As long as I can still hear the birdies while you talk, then I'm okay with it. Yeah, I don't have the noise filter on this one. There's 3 levels. I think there's 2 or 3 levels of noise canceling. And it's that noise canceling that can kind of screw up sound sometimes. Did Green Light make you think differently about bumper sticker sayings? Overall, that was a great book. It makes you think. I think I'm halfway through it. So, I'm aware of his love of bumper stickers. I left a scathing comment on Jackknife's post a few days ago. It pointed out why so many people are mean online. I agree. Desensitization via the sensory overload. Choga says, yep, that's why I don't watch TV any more than 10 years and reading just the titles of basic events. Otherwise, we are being depressed without personal reason even, right? 99.9% of the stuff you see on the news when it comes to war, government, conspiracy theories, all of that stuff does not affect you. I mean, it affects you to a certain degree, but there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Okay, so the president's this way or that. Okay, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. So deal with the reality that you have and stop blaming others for your problems. Everyone should read The Hacking of the American Mind, just saying. Birds are singing pretty cool, to be honest. No need for the noise canceling at all. Good deal. And you don't have, come on, when it says hardly watch the news, who cares? It's good to be aware, but you know what? I don't turn on the TV and watch the evening news. I don't do that. You don't have to do that because if you're not getting the headlines through Google, you're getting the headlines through Smart News app. If you're not getting the headlines from that app, you're getting the headlines from YouTube. Because even if you don't subscribe to any of those kind of channels, the homepage will still have some of that riddled in there. What was the age of your neighbor that passed away? Late 40s, Marty. Late 40s. So he was younger than us, but he looked 10 years older than us. I mean, it was sad. I think the several years that he's lived here, I think I've seen him sober twice. So I think staring at the news is not best for your mental health. It could be an overload. And that's absolutely true because here's what happens. You begin to have a fatalistic attitude. And so now you're not worrying about your health. Now you're not worried about improving your business. Now you're not worried about ways that I can save money. Now you're just like, you know what, screw it. They're going to do what they do. So therefore, I might as well just max out the credit cards, eat a bunch of bad food, and die, before I'm 60 of cancer. And that's, anybody who's ever tried to quit smoking, that's the attitude they have. Well, I got to die someday. Well, does your family deserve that? Does your family deserve to watch you die like that? Does your family deserve to pay your hospital bills? Does your family deserve any of that? To see you suffer? Think about that when you're sitting there puffing away, ooh. And how do I know? Because my dad died of lung cancer. So I think I have a little bit of insight on that mentality. Of the little news I watch, I leave saying that and 50 will get you a cup of coffee. That and 50 cents will get you a cup of coffee, right? So, but anyways, I think that's it. And and look, I'm not doing this for notoriety. I mean, I'm doing this on the small channel because I know that I think the most I've ever gotten in here is like 20 people. Which ain't bad for a channel that's only got 500 members. So, I find myself having to... I self-analyze myself. That's redundant. I do a lot of self-analysis, a little bit too much. I think I am harder on myself than I would be to anybody else. And I don't know if that's a good trait or a bad trait, but I'm still responsible for how I react to that. So, you have to take some of it with a grain of salt. Just don't let yourself get overwhelmed by it all. And that's exactly what I've done. There's this YouTube channel I follow, and this dude gets up at like midnight, I swear, and he searches the news for the worst headlines and then uses it in a Revelations kind of way to spin it and tell us his thoughts on it. And when the news cycle is kind of slow, he'll say things like, I had a dream. that this was this. I have visions of this. I have visions of fire, and that, you know, what does that mean? I don't know. We got to remain vigilant. We got, you know, and it's like, I just want to call a dude and say, man, are you really doing God's work by constantly reminding us of how screwed up things are? Are you really doing that? My dad passed of cancer too. Worst thing I saw in my life. And you know, and I'm sorry to hear that, Shannon, because that is tough. But there's a point where people won't make changes until there's too much pain. You know, your kid ain't going to go out there and get a job unless there's some, unless he gets too uncomfortable, he or she gets too uncomfortable. And a lot of times when it comes to our health, sometimes by the time you're uncomfortable and aware, it's too late. And I just want to encourage people to kind of keep an eye on that. Hey everybody, only 45 minutes late. Just got my bunk heater working. DIY semi how-to video to the rescue. There you go. It was a long time ago, but thanks. So yeah, my father died. He died in 2003. So but anyways, I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to bring up or talk about. I just want to, you know, I'm just feeling reflective, so I thought, hey, this would be a good opportunity to test the new mic system for a live feed. The next one will be StreamYard with the microphone to see how that comes out. So, but yes, the birds are back. Spring is almost here. Allergy season is just about on me, and it won't be long before I have to start mowing the lawn. And I'm going to go live tonight on the big channel again. I'm reminding you, I'm going to go live on the big channel to talk to Daniel Summers, an insurance broker. And I'm going to go live at 6 o'clock Central, regardless if he comes on or not. If he does, cool. If not, then we'll just talk about whatever. So is that what your yard looks like? I'm a foot of snow here. Yeah, I mean, the grass is restoring its color, and it won't be long before I got to bust out the mower. If I knew then what I know now, I could have helped him, but I don't beat myself up with that. Just saying, my research don't stop. I can help others. Yeah, that's how you have to look at that. You know, I just remember, and look, if I tell somebody, hey, you know, you ought to quit smoking, this was my experience with that, and if they don't take that advice, then I don't have responsibility over that. You know, because if they really want to continue down that path, they'll validate. Well, you know, my grandfather was 98 and he smoked. You know, or you know, there are plenty of people that don't die of cancer that smoke cigarettes. Blah 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 blah. You know, and you know, when they get to doing that, you just have to walk away and just say, you know what, my ego is not bruised that you're not taking my advice. I just, you know, and again, it's that's an entitlement thing. You know, well, I'm entitled to do what I want. Okay, well, you're entitled to stick your hand in an open fire, but, you know, are you going to do it? Are you going to do it just to make a point? Trucking question, is there any tips and tricks for using a Samsara? There's plenty of resources online, Marty. They're very good resources. So, but there's no tips or tricks. It's just like a regular ELD system. Come on, I smoke like a chimney. I'm going to try to quit. Well, that's good. That's good. I'm happy to see that. My friend told me about Chantix. You got to be careful though, because there's some of those drugs that aren't DOT legal, and so you gotta be aware of that, because the doctor ain't gonna be aware of that. Yep, recovery taught me that there's three things you can't control: people, places, and things. That's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. So, and I kind of had to. I had to look at my food intake like an addiction, and like, someone going through AA, you really have to kind of approach that, because the food is literally that addictive. It always bugs me when someone goes, "Well, just push the plate away." If you got certain chemical reactions going on in your brain, that's not that easy. And that's by design. Just like you can sit there and tell somebody, "Well, quit smoking." God, it's so bad for you. Well, it's not that simple, is it? It can be, but it's not. For some people, it can be. For some people, they can come over it. I did. I smoked cigarettes for a minute back when I was like 20 years old. And once I saw that it was screwing up my vocals for my band I was in at that time, I was over it. It was done. And never looked back. Never had an issue. And it's certain MSG is wired. MSG is designed to take your wiring and tell you that you're not full. It's that is a fact. You can Google it. I mean, how do you get rats to become overweight? Well, you overfeed them. Well, how do you overfeed them? Because most animals can self-regulate themselves unless they have human food intervention. When was the last time you saw an overweight wolf? When was the last time you saw an overweight lion out in the wild? On TV or something. Obviously, you're not driving around Africa looking at lions, but I mean, but if you go to a certain park where everybody feeds the birds, what do you got? You got overweight squirrels, overweight pigeons. I've seen overweight chihuahuas at the truck stops. So, and I laugh because they look funny when they're that overweight. That's true about the addiction of food. It is. And when you read the book that Shannon mentioned earlier, it's all by design. We're nothing but cash cows. Consume, consume, consume. The wife and I were driving around yesterday, and by the end of the day, we were like, we were over it. We were so over the expense of driving around that we had with the errands that we were doing, and just how many people were out and about. Just, it's like, we go grocery shopping and it's 20% higher, and it was stressful. We joked yesterday, because she's doing this Lent thing too, and we joked yesterday that it's probably a good thing, because last night would have been the day that we would have probably went to Chinese buffet and then consumed alcoholic beverages. Because this is just how crappy everything was yesterday. So first 3 days are the worst ones, but it's being easier after. When I tried to test myself to smoke 1 cig a day, at the day 10 was on day 10, I almost puked even. It's not hard at all, in fact, sir. And that's the thing. Once you can once you can cleanse yourself of something and then you take it back in, food acts the same way. You realize just how toxic it is. That was one of the biggest lessons I learned on the keto diet was you go without sugar and flour for so long, and the minute you have, oh, it's Thanksgiving, I'm going to have this roll and a piece of pumpkin pie. Next day, you're like, your back hurts, your knee hurts, you're slightly depressed, and you're like, wow. Your skin breaks out. And you just don't feel good. And you're like, wow. But you didn't realize it because it happened slowly to you over time. And so therefore, you don't realize how sick you are until you try to cleanse. So, anyways, guys, 6 o'clock Central. Please support the big channel. I would like to do more interviews like what I've got. And I want to thank the person who didn't want credit that set me up with this. Right, the easiest rule to follow remains true. I tell people all the time, if God made it, you literally can eat as much as you want of it and can remain healthy. Boom, easy. Pretty much. So, thanks guys for coming in. Thanks guys and gals for coming in. If you don't mind, hit the thumbs up. And if you're watching the replay, leave a comment. It will go private for a minute, but I'll fix that here after a minute. So, because my channel's too small, I like to get this one above 1,000 people, and I forget how many hours they want for you to monetize. But if I can get above 1,000, then they won't automatically put me to private when I shut the video down. So, but yeah, 6 o'clock, Snowlord, the Metalhead Viking Caveman Trucker channel. On that channel, come visit. If you are not subscribed, then you want to be, because that's how I'm going to set up the chat. So if you guys have any questions, if you know me personally, text me those questions for the insurance person. Give me some ideas. And if you don't know me personally, you can email me in the description of the Caveman Trucker channel, and or you can just wait till the live stream to do that. So with that being said, thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for watching me grow. Peace.